Hey guys, let me show you what I've been up to. I've been painting this old cedar fence here. Just trying to freshen it up with some black stain. I've been painting it with a brush. It's really been blowing my mind. It takes forever with all the nooks and crannies. Unless you put the paint on like super thick, you just don't get it everywhere. I haven't painted it in quite a while because it's just been really blowing my mind. It takes a couple hours just to do 2 or 3 sections. I've got my setup over here, and the reason why I'm doing this one black is because I've got a new fence going across the front yard. I'm just waiting for the locates and permission to drill. I had these rails set up on the sawhorses, and like I said, I would just paint it and roll it, and just couldn't do it anymore. It sucks. So I'll show you what I bought. I've got the Wagner Flexio 3000. Now, as far as I'm concerned, when you put 3000 on the end of anything, it's going to be amazing. So it shows people in their house just spraying the walls like crazy. This guy's just pouring the paint to his siding, and this dude's staining his kitchen cupboards right in place. So yeah, it looks amazing. This is an upgraded version of the last model. So really, like it says, it has a new and improved spray pattern, which is a little bit improved. So this has 4 different features on it. You can turn the tip to either have your spray width up and down or side to side or whatever you want. There's an adjustment here for how much paint you want to come out. Another adjustment at the top. But anyway, let's open up the box. I had an old paint sprayer years ago. But it was junk, so this is really new to me. It's going to be my first time. I've got my paint right here. This is what I've been putting on my cedar fence, and it's going to go across all the cedar fences. It's fairly thin, but this machine is supposed to spray whatever you put in it. And you can do a fence in 2 minutes. I just spent 2 hours, so why wouldn't I buy this? I got it from the Home Depots. It was like 200 bones. So anyway, let's open it up and see how it looks. A couple spare pieces of foam. Oh, look at this bad boy. Before you spray, choose your correct nozzle assembly. Set your air power. Higher, fast, lower, slow. So I assume when I start painting with this, there's going to be quite a learning curve, which is fine. I'm just hoping it's a lot more enjoyable than it has been with a brush. Like I said earlier, the brush sucks. It does have 2 different spray nozzles. Of course, this one is for your walls, fences, bigger things, and this one's supposed to be for finer little jobs, or where you don't necessarily need a lot of volume but more precision. We're not going to use this today. We need the volume. So before you start, turn the power dial to the appropriate setting. We have no idea what that is yet. Adjust the flow. Well, we don't know what that is yet, but I guess we'll get there. Pull the trigger and start the paint. And periodically wipe the nozzle tip to clear dried paint. So these two must go together like this. Okay. Now this probably adjusts how much paint comes out. Oh, actually no, this is the width of your spray pattern. So we'll have to adjust that. Not sure where to really set the airflow yet. Minimum for fences. Well, there you go. So let's start at a 3. If this works, I'll be so excited. Here's our reservoir. Little tip cleaner. Little package of petroleum jelly. Have to figure out where that goes. It does come with a huge instruction book. If you'd like to read that, you go ahead. I'm not going to. I'm just going to jump right into it and figure it out as I go. First off, I'm going to get some paint in here. I'm going to put a piece of screen mesh over top because I've been painting with a brush and I know for sure I've got pieces of bark and who knows what inside this can of paint, and that's not something I want to run through this gun. But if you have a fresh gallon of paint, you won't need to screen your paint like I am about to do. Oh, I'm glad I put the mesh on there. Got some chunks of paint. I had about a quarter of a can of paint left, and that filled this with 45 fluid ounces. So just about ready to go here. Put this in. Now this is a water-based paint, so I'll be cleaning it up afterwards with just the hose. We're ready. Let's go test this thing out. Okay, here she is. She's plugged in. There goes nothing. Oh, it smokes. That's amazing. I thought it was going to make a lot of noise. It is a lot faster than a brush. However, full of paint, it does have some weight to it. Yeah, I'm sold. I like it. I say the only real complaint is that it's fairly heavy. You get fatigued early carrying it, but other than that, she's nice. Okay, I'm super happy. I'm just going to continue painting these rails. I'll see how many I can do with a full reservoir, and then we'll clean it up and we'll call her a day because I'm out of paint. I'll see you guys in a few. Check that out. It's like 20 minutes to spray these rails, and it's got all the nooks and crannies and cracks. Oh, what a worthwhile investment for me. I even started painting one of my posts, but I ran out of paint. If it's something that you're going to use for a project like this, then I highly recommend it. I haven't tested it on more precision things like siding and painting indoors. So I think I'm going to go ahead now, pull it apart, and we'll go clean it up, see how it looks when we're done. So the cleanup part nobody really likes. I'm going to put all my parts in a bucket of water here, like this, since it's all water-based paint. And then once everything's clean, I'll actually flow water through the gun. I'll take the tip apart. Throw that in there. The gun itself has a little bit of overspray on it. It's not a real big deal, but just gonna take a damp cloth here and rub the gun down. It's a paint gun, so it's bound to get paint on it. But the overspray was very minimal, and that was nice. You can fine-tune it pretty good. My dirty cloth is making things even dirtier. I'm gonna grab the new cloth. I think I rubbed my hands on the other one a few too many times. So yeah, there's basically nothing on the gun to wipe off per se, a couple spots here and there, but it's just for the heck of it. Now for the inside where the bowl was, I'm just going to use the hose and spray that off. Don't forget the tip. Give our little reservoir a once over. So cleanup's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. This thing came out spotless. Maybe the key is to do it as soon as you're done painting for the day. That's like new. So that's good. I'll fill this up with water too. Clean water, because I'm going to run this through the gun. So here we go, we got our reservoir full of water. Blow some water out. I'd say this is a pretty important step, not one you want to skip. But at the same time, when you're blowing water through it, you can play around. Check your spray patterns, turning this dial, put some more paint out, turning it back is less. Crank your air up. Puts out a lot of paint. And this thing up here changes the width of your spray pattern as well. Narrow, wide. So for painting my fence, I kind of put it in between the narrow and the wide. I ran it on number 7, and I ran it for air power about 3, and it worked out pretty good. Something else to watch too, if you're painting and you're like, oh, I have no paint coming out, the trigger's actually hard to pull, and you can pull it. It'll engage the blower, but you really have to pull it back to get product to come out. See, and then you start to pull it. It's almost like a variable rate trigger. Yeah, you'll be like, oh, I'm out of paint. If your finger fatigues on the trigger, you'll think you're out of paint, but really you're just not pulling it hard enough. So those are my only 2 faults with this gun, is that it's fairly heavy when it's full of paint, which may be a concern to somebody. You do get a lot of fatigue, and also the trigger. You really have to pull the trigger hard and keep it held. But other than that, it does a fantastic job. I'm happy. I'm glad I bought it. Maybe this will convince you to buy it or stay away from it, but either way, hope you enjoyed this video. A little demonstration on my rails. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.